One of the things I just heard Jim say before he left the stage is engagement. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is global engagement and connection. And that's really one of the foundational tenets of this second 5-year strategic marketing plan, is moving from brand awareness, which was reflected in the first plan, to brand engagement. We're obviously going to see highlights from our international marketing programming and our offices, and hopefully you'll have a better idea about where we're going in the next planning cycle. Social media, we just can't keep repeating it enough. It is omnipresent in our everyday lives, and the digital revolution obviously have changed our lives on a deeply personal level. The world is smaller because of technology and new communications, and we're more interconnected than ever. It really creates an opportunity for all of us, and we have now these new capabilities to reach consumers around the globe. And I think we're finally seeing this fundamental shift toward opportunity as opposed to impediment, because we did in the early years experience that wow effect of the consumers talking back to us about our promotional activities and our brand. But I think we're now moving toward this proactive, dialogue-driven environment and getting very comfortable with it. There's a second generation in this digital generation. It's funny because, you know, with offline media, these evolutions would occur over a decade or even a generation, and now they're occurring over 5, even 1-year increments. But now the consumers actually has this ability to filter and personalize media and entertainment through apps like Pinterest and Flipboard. In fact, the content that we consume now as second generation digital consumers is just as relevant as how we consume it. There's apps like Pinterest, as I mentioned, and Flipboard. You know, Pinterest is amazing. Just from January alone to date, they've gone from 5 million users a day to 10 million. It's doubled just since January. So more on that. I actually haven't logged in and started a Pinterest account because I'm afraid of it. I know I'll be absolutely addicted to it. But social media is really reflected kind of as our own personal broadcast channel now. We're able to talk to a myriad of groups, social groups, through and reflect on our personal experiences, opinions, and preferences. We can do this now from phones, our tablets, from desktop, and we can do it anywhere in the world. It's truly broadcast, but in reality, it's a word of mouth on steroids. The other interesting dynamic that's changed the landscape of us personally and the consumer is these boundaries between our personal life and our professional life have literally disappeared, because now we have friends and colleagues on Facebook, we share industry info on Twitter, and we are all linked in. So this social space is fundamentally about engagement and connection. We can't get away with it or get away from it, but inherently, connection is at the heart of all good marketing, particularly an emotional connection. And how we've translated that in our strategies and tactics as we market California as a travel destination is we've tried to use prevailing themes in this new level of thinking through music, film, food, and celebrity, and really showcasing California's distinct attitude and personalities using these themes and aligning California with what's hot, what's classic, and what's next. And we have been fortunate to have friends in high places. We certainly do love our movie stars, but we also like to look beyond Hollywood when we're casting our true talent and shine the spotlight on some of our pioneers and innovators that really go deeply in embodying the California spirit. We've called them brand ambassadors, and we've connected them under a global umbrella of true Californians, putting our promotional efforts right in sync with the distinct people of California. That's been very, very effective. And speaking of brand ambassadors, everyone in this room is a true Californian. It's been reflected in our research that people really want to come to California just to connect and be part of us, from our statewide partners to our international representation offices, and certainly those that are on the national stage. So I'm sure you could find yourself here on the screen. Yes, oh, look at all those brand ambassadors. It's really, really important that we consider ourselves, our own focus group, part of the California experience, because it's that warm, welcoming, relaxed attitude that is also a key lure and a repeat driver for people to come and continue to come to California. So in terms of trying to get into the head of the consumer in today's stressful, complex environment of where people feel there's this compression of time, people look to travel as a respite from the chaos, and they also are now looking at it as an opportunity for personal enrichment as much as it is entertainment. People feel there should be meaning in vacations, materialism, shopping, bringing home memories is certainly important, but they want something that's lasting longer than simply the experience that they're taking at that time. They are looking for something that's going to transform them in body and mind, and they want to capture and savor those moments long after they've left the destination so that they can share those experiences with their friends and family. And it's our job to bridge the needs and wants of the consumer with our objectives in projecting that message and that invitation out to our consumers. And hopefully that comes together through the invitation and the inspiration. And really, your job as the product providers is to deliver on that experience. So we are truly connected as we look collaboratively across this promotional landscape. It obviously helps when we have resources to do so, and we've been fortunate to go from 7 million to 50 million and increase our impact internationally. Through opening new offices, we've been able to go direct to the consumer, and in fact, we've had some great success because over the last 4 years, we've actually generated almost $2 billion in additional spending just from the international efforts alone, and generated 715,000 incremental trips. Looking at it from a global perspective, in just 1 year, last year we generated almost $4 billion in incremental trips and about $5.5 billion in incremental spending when we add the domestic piece to that landscape. So the 5-year plan, thanks to so many of you in the audience that had not just a hand in it, but so many meetings so that we could truly understand, not just from the one-dimensional perspective of Visit California, but the needs and what's necessary for us to connect that consumer to you where we are. And we defined how we develop this plan in the changing travel environment, the addition and dynamic of Brand USA, and of course, technology and media consumption. And we really boiled it down to 4 key objectives, being serving as a platform on behalf of the industry, on behalf of the consumer, as well as enriching the brand globally, still critically important in our outreach efforts, deepening that engagement level, and of course, growing international visitation to California. And we really looked at it from the perspective of preserve programs that have worked well, traditional, many of us think of it as offline programs, and innovate so that we can deepen and enrich that connectivity again to the consumer. So in doing so, we really sought to transcend the travel category. We talked about transformation. It's not just about visiting. It's about really restoring the soul and the spirit of a person. Our destination can actually deliver on that. But we do it through leveraging our partnerships with all of you. And of course, thanks to you, we can create an actual retail call to action. So our preserve strategy and platform has really been the base of our broadcast advertising spots. They represent our core strength. They're highly emotive. We have high awareness and ROI. And for some of you who may not have seen all of them, I'm going to run all of our spots. And afterwards, I'll talk a little bit because I appreciate Bob Warren's comment about rural. You'll be fascinated that it actually plays a key component in our overall experience. After all, you still have to go through a gateway, and chances are you're going to rent a car or use a vehicle to get to these places. So it really strengthens the relationship between all of us. But let's look at the spots, and you'll notice we've added our spokesperson, Rob Lowe, into misconceptions and out there.
People have a lot of misconceptions about California, but none of them are really true.
None of them.
They think we're all surfers.
Or celebrities.
That we're all into yoga.
And that everyone owns a winery.
Or skateboard.
And that we all drive convertibles.
Where did they get these ideas? Like how we all live in bikinis and act like movie stars.
You want to know the truth about California? Get out here.
We'll show you how we roll.
Start your trip at visitcalifornia.com.
We love growing things in California.
We set our imaginations loose.
And watch the magic happen.
So come enjoy.
Come enjoy.
A taste of the good life.
Because it looks like a spot just opened up.
Start your trip at visitcalifornia.com.
Everyone thinks Californians are so chill. But we're actually pretty ambitious.
We reach for the sky. We put our best foot forward. So get out here.
You've got friends in high places. Start your trip at visitcalifornia.com.
People say Californians are out there.
Oh, we're out there. We're into some wild stuff. Woo!
Hey, real wild.
Like we're from another planet.
From another world.
We've got some far-out ideas.
Far out!
And different tastes.
We may be out there.
But out there
It's a pretty great place.
So join us.
You know where we'll be.
Start your trip at visitcalifornia.com.
I want to be out there. I can't watch all these spots enough. I mean, we are so lucky that our product, where we live every day, is California. We are so fortunate. So out there, really, you know, you notice that, yes, we've added Rob Lowe to the mix, but celebrity is not central to that spot. The places and the settings are the star of that spot. And that's what our friends in rural California represent. It's just the scenery and the diversity is so compelling that the setting is truly the star. You know, and in fact, I mentioned that the consumer testing has been phenomenal. And it was really interesting to see that we can showcase, you know, California beyond the gateways in a product that's highly compelling, engaging, in a very impactful way, that despite perhaps even overseas visitors and our targets, while they may not be familiar with all of the product that we showed in these spots, it's so compelling that they actually want to visit. So we're really excited to add that to our suite of assets. And again, we will continue to drive the integration factor between our out there locations and of course our iconic destinations. Starting in the fall of 2011, we took our broadcast suite and moved it into places like Hulu. And what we saw was that 33% of people who saw the advertising in Hulu actually reported visiting our visitcalifornia.com website. That's 1 in 3 people. I mean, that is just huge. So those folks are just highly connected to the messaging environment, which is a little surprising because a lot of times they're moving online so that they can watch uninterrupted programming. We didn't just put the spots on the web. We actually put the spots on the web, but then created content around the people and the places and told the story of the location that we were shooting, as well as the people that were featured in the spot, so that they could find out more of an authentic perspective about the places and our true Californians. So what else have we been up to since last April? Well, using the power of images and music, I thought it'd be more interesting if we just ran through it on video, a recap of last year, and then we'll move into next year.
Touched down at LAX, where they were greeted by California Governor Jerry Brown.
We're traveling along the same route that the royal couple is going to take.
So the royal couple's coming to California for 3 days.
3 days?
3 days of superhighways.
3 days of star sightings.
Pool hopping.
Casting calls.
And lots of bubbly!
3 days to soak it all in.
Just 3 days.
3 days of skyscrapers.
And waterfront real estate.
California. Find yourself here. January is California Restaurant Month, and Air Canada is the airline to get you to the table. With the most service from Canada and daily nonstops to San Francisco, Los Angeles, and San Diego. Great fares are available now at aircanada.com.
About my very first ET Emmy party because everybody is always talking about it. San Diego local and skateboarding legend Tony Hawk, and he's turning the spotlight on California. This is what makes our state so cool to Tony.
California is very welcoming of all types of people, and you can definitely find your place here no matter what you're into.
We are super excited about showcasing all that California has to offer to the sea of young Australians eager to set off on their next adventure. California Tourism and United Airlines are giving you the chance to have the ultimate California adventure.
예스 셰프 시즌 2 글로벌 셰프를 찾아라. 와이트레인에서의 두 번째 미션.
We're in LA, baby!
Wowzers, how good is this?
Hey, this is Ming Tsai from Simply Ming, driving in beautiful Napa Valley.
San Francisco is full of passionate, creative people. It's on show here. The names of the shops, the products that they're selling, and the way they go about it. It's a really engaging, unique experience.
Resolution
attraction, not a fantasy. Just remember me when it turns out right. 'Cause you know that if you live in your imagination, tomorrow you'll be everybody's fascination. In my victory, just remember me when I make you shine.
I love seeing all of you in that video. It just brings back memories. Just one request, Shauna, can you lay a little music down while I'm talking? That might help zip this up. I love hearing the music. Anyway, as Barb Newton mentioned yesterday at our board meeting, mobile is global. It's omnipresent in many countries. It's well ahead of what we're doing here in America as consumers of information. And it's obviously now a big part of our marketing mix, and certainly moving forward. There are no borders in the cloud. And this means we can play in this space to reach our global consumer in a very compelling way. Anyone, anywhere in the world can and will download our apps, access our mobile site, and view our online content. Case in point, since we launched our iPad app, 66% of the downloads have actually come from outside the US. That was shocking to us, even at headquarters, Visit California. But it really, really started to resonate. And frankly, our Vice Chair of Marketing, Ed Fuller, obviously understands that dynamic with Marriott International. And that's why we've been working with him for the last several months to look at a new plan and a new way to approach our plan from a globalization standpoint. We also are able to reach markets that we normally wouldn't be able to reach, like places, Africa, Iceland. A lot of consumers there have also downloaded the app. So not only are we reaching our targeted market, but we are able to spread the reach well beyond the markets that we are actually investing resources in. The implications are just so incredibly exciting. This iPad app has actually helped the consumer in 3 simple words: dream, plan, and go. And so for those of you who haven't had a chance to download it, we'll check it out here. And since you're all using your mobile apps at your desk anyway, feel free to download it while we look at this.
Misconceptions about California, but none of them are really true. There you have it. Feel free to download. So, we talked about efficiency, and we're excited to be working with Ed. And Lynn and Leona, Kat, and the entire team are just hunkered down, really trying to reorganize our planning process to eke every dollar out of the plan
through reorganization and looking at it from a global lens, making that budget work harder. So I'm going to show you some key developments that are shaping our global direction. First, I think it's important. I mean, we've worked with a lot of you. I remember working with Marilyn Hannis a couple years ago on looking at really what is the consideration set when we're looking at where we're going to invest resources. And so some of the key factors in that was worldwide qualitative research, in-market intelligence, quantitative consumer research, and of course, input from all of you. So I'm going to spend the next 10 or 12 minutes just finishing up on where we're headed, but want to circle back to kind of the baseline, and that is the evolving consumer, because they certainly are evolving from a demographic profile. I certainly talked about inward and their drive to seek happiness and a restorative nature when they're seeking vacation opportunities. But the reality is the population is growing and the middle class is rapidly growing, as we all know, in these emerging markets. And really the diversity factor is also rapidly expanding, and we're seeing that deep penetration where really the term minority will soon become obsolete. So our strategy is to make sure we're in touch with these shifts and that we think about this from our positioning and a global brand proposition. We really have to develop a global plan for a global consumer. Again, thank you, Vice Chair Ed Fuller, who's helping to lead the way. It's just invaluable to us. So as we take into consideration of making these emotional connections and how we have the ability to reach diverse and evolving, this evolving global population, we need to do this through compelling content and fresh content. And we've really learned, which is interesting to me, that consumers from around the world actually have the same desire for similar content. For the last several years, we would sit around strategizing about how we were going to reach these markets, and we wanted to make sure the information was segmented and unique and aligned with these distinct cultures. But what we found through all of social media and this global application is that there are similar desires for the same content, but they may be nuanced or delivered a little bit differently. But that's a huge opportunity for us in creating this efficiency through a globalized plan. And we're also looking at further integrating all of this content that really was housed in an archive on a domestic platform and making sure we're integrating it now globally. Ed said something to me yesterday as we were looking at some of the deck, and he took his pen and he crossed out domestic and he wrote North America. So really, it will be a different plan as we move into our May board meetings. We definitely want to help the consumer find themselves here by inspiring them, delivering that powerful content, and stoking their California dreams. And doing this through this overarching global plan, because now we know that there are more commonalities than differences. And we've looked through this lens of our 5-year plan and using the key objective of platform and brand and engagement, now seen through a global lens. So as we continue to tell the California story and we tap into the passions about California, we know that also, again, celebrity does intersect. And we will continue to use the power of celebrity and the personalities for these branding efforts for years from now. We also know that this new changing landscape of social media has really compelled us not only to use celebrities in an environment that is projecting one-dimensionally out to the consumer, but it's equally as important to get them to work with us in deeper content, not and beyond a print or a broadcast spot. So we've been so fortunate to have icons like Clint Eastwood and Betty White, and we know that star power pays off. And so again, working with Commissioner Fuller and his vision for really deploying celebrity ambassadors, we've also brought in a couple other key celebrity ambassadors. One, the Angela Jolie for Mexico, Jackie Bracamontes, as well as, of course, the Brad Pitt for Asia, B.H. Lee, who happens to be a Korean, but he also has broad application and compelling interest by Chinese and Japanese alike. So he is positioned really as our Pan-Asian spokesperson. And as a matter of fact, in working with him, he just finished filming a new G.I. Joe movie in the States last fall, and we were able to shoot 3 major magazine covers with him, as you can see, as well as captured video content. And we're already looking at the ROI and aligning these stars to our product, really similar to what Brand USA is doing in terms of adopting in-country ambassadors to speak to their friends and family in country. So interesting alignment there. Now, no surprise, the visitor magazines are flying off the shelf. The fact that we have Rob Lowe on the cover. And that was another, head scratcher as we walked around the office. Wow, the visitor magazines are flying off the shelf. What's going on? Oh, it's the first time we've ever put a celebrity on the cover. No wonder. Pardon me? Without a shirt. Okay, yes, that's true. Do you think there's a difference there? I don't know. But it is funny. We kind of went around going, duh, but again, that power of celebrity. So as we mentioned yesterday, we certainly leveraged the application of Rob Lowe in an entire day of filming. And again, we wanted to get that authentic, informal content. And we were surprised about how passionate he is about California and the lifestyle, and how much he has traveled throughout California, and how well he could articulate it on the stump. No rehearsal, just coming from the heart. And our friends at Marion Carson were able to capture all of this through 9 videos that we've created about this content that will be on our website and accessible from there. And I'm not going to show you all 9 videos, but we took one, the Ultimate California Road Trip, and the great appeal of Highway 1, and it kind of gives you an idea of how he's positioned California, but he's also done it through all of our other great experiences throughout California. So let's take a look at that.
Whenever friends of mine from foreign countries come to California, they always want to do the same thing. It never varies. They rent a convertible, and they want to start in Southern California and drive up the coast. No matter where they're from, no matter what country, there's something about that speaks to people. That stretch of highway between Point Sur and Monterey is the most beautiful stretch of land in the world, in my opinion. I love the Cannery Row in Monterey. You want to sample all of the restaurants. You want to bring your surfboard and hit some of the surf breaks. And then, I love the old boardwalk in Santa Cruz. It's really a throwback to a time gone by. My road trip has to go through there. And then I think you want to go, you want to make sure you hit the wine country, because the beauty is not to be believed.
It's great. That's California. So the engagement platform really has to deploy that multi-screen strategy. And we have a new digital ecosystem for California that will serve video, music, photos, and more. And it'll bring our brand across these multiple channels. Equally as important is that we'll have the ability to showcase your content and provide inspiration, as well as foster exploration and drive the sharing across all of our respective screens, and feed into this digital ecosystem so that the content will be seen worldwide. And it'll be universal and evergreen because we will continue to perpetuate that process. And we'll continue to leverage existing channels like you see up here with This Moment and YouTube. And we will use all these platforms, again, to showcase this content. Technology isn't useful unless we have content. We've heard it over and over again. Content is king. So we want to bring and create this content and showcase our true Californians, bring them to life, and leverage this global creative and the spokespeople. And do this in this environment of the social universe so that we can also, sharing is authentic. And we all know that we have to have authentic product and messaging in order to effectively reach the consumer. One other tool that is coming online swiftly is an application called Google Currents. And it's the perfect example of leveraging channels. And it was introduced by Google just before Christmas, and it's basically a curation video that is, again, universal. You can use it on any tablet, Droid, iPhones, iPad. And Visit California is actually one of the first destinations to be approved on Google Currents. So check it out and download Google Currents. It's highly effective, efficient, but again, like Pinterest, it's addictive. So many of you saw Dreamland last night, and we're excited that as we roll that out, we'll be broadcasting to millions around the world this fall in more than 20 countries. And of course, we want to extend the reach of Dreamland by launching a complimentary and companion global online promotion, and really invite the world to share their experiences by being inspired by that principal broadcast platform. Let's talk about platform, because platform is a shared environment, and we have many compelling themes by which we can reach the consumer on this platform. Food and wine is a very important one, because what tourist has ever been on a vacation and never had a bite to eat or something to drink? It happens on every vacation experience, and we happen to have very compelling product in the category. So we've been able to harness that product through our broadcast and earned media efforts, and of course with the introduction and working with all of you with California Restaurant Month. Family's another one. You're going to hear after this the incredible investment some of our key attractions have made to revitalize and really project globally that we are truly the world's best family destination. And I can't wait to actually sit and listen to this panel. Of course, entertainment is another one. Who can argue that we're not the cultural capital of the world through our film, our festivals, our spectator sports? We're going to hear more about the entertainment platform and theme through our UK and Australia offices later this afternoon, as well as that backdrop and the global broadcast opportunities that we receive from the Engine Tour California, and coming soon to the Bay Area, the America's Cup. And then there's music, another universal theme, because it inspires, it transcends borders and language, and it's a great communication tool, an engagement vehicle, and even a destination driver. One of my favorite quotes from Dave Merring is, "We're taking our brand from the eyeballs to the earballs." It is so emotive. So as we look at these themes, and you'll hear more and more on how we're executing these themes, I look forward to continuing partnerships with you, and I hope this has resonated. I'm going to leave you with a beautiful and inspirational video that definitely is will hit you in terms of the eyeballs and the earballs. Joey Ryan, an artist that has created an anthem song that touches the soul for all of us in California. And then after the video, and we've taken in and ingested our own California spirit, I'll come back up and we'll run through this afternoon. So let's roll the video.
California, California, know I love you. California, when I leave, I know you wait for me. 'Cause in the sun and in the weather, no one else has loved me better. California, you're the place for me.